Hello everyone, how are you? It's good to see you back again. We are now in week 6 for English 2 for Diploma 3, KU31201. Still with me, Miss Monal Sapasaribu, and for this week we will be talking about the topic of appropriate technology. Okay, so which technology is suitable for what? So that's the appropriate technology. And for this week, the objective is for students to be able to implement the grammar of time clauses of when, as, while, and as in combining sentences. Okay, so that's the objective for this topic for this week, everyone. So let's check the material for this week. So as you can see, the agenda is the review. We're going to have a very quick review on the material from last week. And then we'll also have a discussion about the topic for week 6, which is about the appropriate technology. So for the review from last week's material, we were talking about the topic of information technology, and we also talk about the grammar of passive voice in past tense. So for this sentence, for this review activity, everyone, what I want you to do, I want you to create a sentence of something that relates to technology, information technology, and change it from active to passive voice. So you make two sentences in an active voice and in inactive voice in past tense, and then change it into passive voice, still in the same tenses, of course, yeah, past tense. And for this one, I want you to post the answer in our YouTube comment for the review question. So I will repeat again one more time. For the review question, I want you to make one sentence related to technology, information technology, and then make the sentence in active voice in past tense, and then change it into passive voice, still in the same tenses in the past tense. Okay, so that's the review activity. Now we go to the material for this week. So very quickly, I know some of you are very good at numbers. Not me, obviously. I'm not really good at numbers, especially the mathematics. However, because you are an IT student, then it is, I think it's quite necessary for you to be able to identify numbers. Okay, so for as an exercise, as a warm-up for you, I want to say these numbers correctly. Okay, so how to say these numbers? They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so have a look at these numbers and then say these numbers out loud. If possible, record yourself so that later we can check it in our practicum session. Yeah. So those texts, the numbers that we just mentioned in the previous activity, actually has something to do with the reading for today. So have a look at the reading for this week. I have uploaded in our campus information system, and have a look and read it by yourself. Record your voice and identify the words that you don't understand. Consult with dictionary or online source for searching for the meaning. Yeah. So with that, I want you to have a look at the reading and look at the number and the quantity, and according to the reading, what do the following numbers and this quantity refer to? So what does it mean by this number over here, and what does it refer to? Okay, if you have read it, I reckon you can answer this question. And then as you also read the text about the appropriate technology, now what do you think about these questions over here? I want you to complete the sentence using the information from the reading. There are 5 questions over here, and because it was talking about the implementation of technology to a certain situation, then tell me the information to complete this sentence. Yeah, and for this for the exercise for the discussion forum for this week, I also want you to tell me in e-course forum, how does this technology, according to the reading that we have, how does this technology help us to solve a problem? So what is actually the problem being solved based on this technology? Okay, so that's the discussion, the question for our discussion forum for this week. Okay, now as I've mentioned in the beginning of this video, the focus for the grammar for this week, which is going to be about time clauses. And as I have mentioned here in this slide, there are 3 functions of time clauses, and obviously there are more, but I write down 3 over here, which is quite relatable to IT students. The first one is to show actions in quick succession. Okay, so to show something that happens at the same time, and that's the second one. And then the third one is to put action in sequence. Okay, and here we have when, okay, and then here we have as, and the second one and the last one we have before and after. So what is actually the difference between these 3, among these 3, sorry. So the first one is to show action in quick succession, meaning one is done after the other, and it's usually done in within the same time, but usually it's in a quick succession. Okay, and then the second one we also have using as to show action happening at the same time. So for example, as I'm speaking, you are listening, so something like that. Okay, so it's two actions that happens at the same time. And the last one is to put actions in sequence. So for example, you do this before you do that, or you do this after you do that. Okay, so those are the examples of time clauses and the functions of the time clauses. So now we will have a look at this more example to it. So the first one is, according to the reading that we have, there are 2 actions. So the first one is the spring starts to unwind, okay, and then the gears engage. So it is happening in a quick succession. So when the spring starts to unwind, the gears engage, or the gears engage when the spring starts to unwind. So something that happens right after the other action the other action starts. Okay, so that's the first one. So that's the first function. And you also notice that there are 2 ways of writing the time clauses. So you can put it in the beginning of the sentence, before action 1, or in between action 1 and action 2, whichever you think is more logical to start with. Okay, so that's the first function of the time clause. Now we go to the second one. And now for the second one, so the second one is to show action happening at the same time, happens at the same time. So we use the expressions of as. So there's an example over here, action 1. The electric shoe charges batteries. Action 2, you walk. So as you walk, the electric shoe charges battery, or the electric shoe charges batteries as you walk. I know sometimes when you speak, I even sometimes make mistake when choosing whether it's actually using time clauses of quick succession or happening at the same time. But you need to realize that for the expression of as, it is to express actions that happens at the same time. Okay, so as you do something, something else happens. Okay, as I speak, you listen, or as someone study, someone else's learn or teach, for example. Okay, so that's the second function of the time clause using the expression of as. And for the last one, we have the third function is to put action in sequence. We use before or after as the expression. So the first one is, the spring has enough power to run the radio for 30 minutes. And then action 2, you have to wind it up again. So the example over here, if you want to combine it, the spring has enough power to run the radio for 30 minutes before you have to unwind it, before you have to wind it up again, or before you have to wind it up again, the spring has enough power to run the radio for 30 minutes. So the same thing with the time clause of when and as. Before and after, you can always put it before the sentence, in the beginning of the sentence, or in the middle of action 1 and action 2. Okay, so one thing that you need to pay attention to, because we're talking about time clause, then which one is becoming the center, the one that indicates the time. Okay, so pay attention to the sentence or the action that indicates the time. Then you can put the time sequence over there. Okay, so time clause over there. Okay, so that's those are the three functions of the time clauses. So to tell actions that happens in the quick succession, to tell action that happens at the same time, and then the last one is to tell actions that are happening in sequence. Okay. Now we go to the practice, everyone. So there are two sentences in one number over here. Two actions that happens. There are two actions over here for one number. So what I want you to do, I want you to have a look at this sentence, and then after that, put the correct time clause. Put the right time clause according to the sentence. Okay, so answer this question later in the practicum session. We are going to discuss it. And for the final activity for you, there are some statements that I'll provide for you in the next slide. And then after that, I want you to talk about whether you agree or disagree with these statements. And then I think we already talked about the expressions of agreement and disagreement in the previous semester. And I also want you to use the time clauses or time expressions whenever you think it's necessary. And you need to explain the reason why you say you agree or disagree. So there are three things that you need to do. The first one is to express whether you agree or disagree using the correct expression, and then after that use the correct time clauses when you think it's necessary, and then explain the reason why you say you agree or disagree with these statements. Okay, so what are the statements? The first one is, appropriate technology is only for poor countries. Oh, that's quite provoking, yeah? Thought-provoking. Number 2, technology students should invest and make appropriate technology devices. And then number 3, studying the appropriate technology is a waste of time. I bet some of you or most of you would disagree to this, yeah? Number 4, appropriate technology is out-of-date technology. Alright, so those are the topics. Please choose one of these statements, and then after that say whether you agree or disagree, and then use the expressions that we have learned from last semester, and also use the time clauses when you think it's necessary, and explain your reason. Okay, so that's for the exercise, the final exercise for this week, everyone. And as we have our last week before we have our UTS, our midterm exam, we are in week 7. We will discuss about defense technology and the related grammar to this topic. Okay, and for this, please come to the practicum session. I will inform you about our UTS or our midterm exam plan. Okay, so that's all for the video for this week, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this video. Here are the references for this week's material. Thank you very much. If you have questions, you are most welcome to ask me in the practicum session or in our group. Okay, stay healthy, everyone. I'll see you around and see you in the practicum session. Goodbye.